Well, isn't this an interesting turn of events? Techlore is looking to hire a new employee. Funny thing, I thought you guys didn't have much money. Pretty sure I remember you guys whining about viewers not donating enough.
And we're speaking from experience because we know, we've said this before, but we know our numbers. And we've even said if I think 1% of our monthly audience donated $1, it would just be so much higher than what we currently get. And that's us. I think open source projects might even be worse because we have other revenue models like ads. Ads are almost nothing, but we do have ads, and we also have a few, like we have Monero, LibrePay, and all this stuff. A lot of open source projects are just like, hey, send us a little something.
I know the New Oil gets over 10,000 visitors a month, and it's like, dude, if half of those people donated $1, I could quit my day job.
Right.
I was going to say, you could also just install uBlock Origin and pay the creators directly on like Patreon or something.
No one does that though. Like, and you know what? I'm getting tired of hearing about it because people don't do it. And so like, and we have numbers to back this up. Like right now, like we make more money from YouTube ads, which isn't much, by the way, than on Patreon. And I guarantee that's probably similar for you as well. That's most creators.
Yeah.
Most creators, even though most creators, ad revenue isn't even their main source of income, it's still more than what people are willing to dish out. And it's especially frustrating. And I get it because I block ads as well, because ads are invasive and I don't want to partake in that industry. But
I just hate ads.
that's fair. Like ads have become so annoying, and it's fair for people to hate them. I really think it comes down to, I think it's very idealistic for people to say, oh yeah, well, if you install uBlock Origin and have your ad blocker running, you have to support your creators, because realistically, people don't support their creators. I think some people do, and I'm very appreciative of all of you that do, especially on like our stuff. But like, people just don't. It cannot. And I tell people this: if ad revenue was cut off right now, we would be a little screwed right now, like on our ends. Like we would really need to like improvise and find other revenue sources at the moment. We wouldn't like die, but it would be a big hit, and it would like hurt us for a few months for us to like figure out what to do. This is pretty universal. Probably on surveillance support and Techlore and everything. This isn't a like, oh, for every 100 viewers, we're only getting 50 of you to support us. No, it's like we're getting like a fraction of one person to support us. Like it's that bad. This isn't like we're looking to get to 100. No, we're looking to get to like 5 out of 100 people. So on YouTube, for example, this last week, I'm just going to tie this to surveillance report because it's relevant to this audience, just to give people an idea here. So like the last surveillance report that just went live, this was our best performing one in a long time, by the way. The one SR138, which talked about Microsoft Edge as the highlight story. And it's currently sitting at 8,000 views. That's 8,000 views. The podcast...
Yeah, usually it's closer to 4. Somewhere
Right,
between 3 and 5 usually.
It's performing really well. So it's 8,000 views, and the downloads on the podcast are close to 2,000 for that episode. Oh no, it's over 2,000. It's over 2,000 for that episode. We're already over 10,000. And then if we look at Odyssey and PeerTube, we're just going to keep it at 10,000. But there are other platforms people can listen in from. Let's just keep it at 10,000 to keep it simple. It's going to be higher. It's probably going to be well over 11,000 in the next week or so. We have 94 people on Patreon.
Mm-hmm. So it's less than 1%.
94. Yeah, it's less than 1% of people. And then on LibrePay, I think we have like 2 supporters on LibrePay.
Last time I checked, yeah.
It's something like that. And then on Monero,
no, the new oils... I was going to say the new oil's the same. On a good month, I get close to 15,000 visitors. On a bad month, it's still just over 10,000. And I make, not including the split from surveillance report, there's no way I make more than $100 off everything. Off Patreon, off LibrePay, off Monero, off merch sales. You mentioned ad revenue. I still haven't gotten my first payout from ad revenue, which is fine because I'm not very consistent with videos, but I think I've maybe made $100 last year off my Proton affiliate link.
Right.
For the whole year. Like,
right.
Yeah.
It's upsetting to me. It's upsetting because I really wish the donation model worked, but it just doesn't because people are just so hesitant to give money. And this really makes me upset. So Privacy Guides has no revenue model as far as I'm concerned. Like they accept donations, but now they released merch. And this is a service that's releasing merch because they supply free things to the world. And people were complaining about it.
I saw that on
Reddit.
Reddit.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, even if you don't like the merch, just shut your mouth. Like, honestly, like, do something else. If you're not going, I'm sure this person has never contributed $1 to privacy guides, and they have the nerve to step forward and be like, I don't like, why are you guys selling merch? It's not like, why are you guys trying to make money? And it's like, because these are people who are like behind this, who are putting up free resources for you.
Who are doing the work of researching these products and vetting them and testing them. And
right. And they're moderating the community that you're on, which is like a nightmare to do. For anyone who's had to moderate a community with thousands of people, you know it's a nightmare, especially in the privacy world, which is just full of its own unique issues.
Real quick, I just want to add on to that. I can't remember what episode it is, but one of the opt-out podcast, he brought on the guy from Citadel Dispatch, and I can't remember his name.
Matt Odell.
Yeah, Matt Odell. And Matt specifically says, he's like, I have 2 projects. I have Citadel, and then I have like another one, and I might be like mixing them up with each other. But basically, he's like, one of them is 100% community supported, no sponsors, all donations, no premium, no paywalls, nothing. The other one, we actually accept sponsors. And he's like, our community supported one makes 10% of what the other one does. He's like, he straight up says, he's like, it's impossible to run a full-time project like that and not have sponsors, which is funny because then people get mad about like, oh, you have sponsors and that's conflict of interest. You have ads and this and that. And it's like, because nobody's paying. Like you said, like he straight up says, he's like, the donation only model is simply not sustainable. It's not.
Right. For most people, most people it's not. And it's the same thing here. I'm not going to give numbers, but all I'll tell you is so we don't do video sponsors on Techlore anymore, and I'm going to put more announcements about that soon. I'm going to open up a new sponsorship program. It's a little bit different, but a single video on Techlore with a single sponsor, just one video, gave us more money than all of Techlore money a month on Patreon. That's it. Like a single sponsor for a single video. And by the way, most sponsors we brought on for 4 videos at a time. So we would be getting paid if we put out 4 videos covering that sponsor. We'd be getting paid well over 4 times the amount of what people were supporting us through Patreon with. And that doesn't include ad revenue, that doesn't include merch, that doesn't include everything else. So yeah, it'll probably be something like 10% of money actually comes in through the community. And the sad thing too is it's the easiest thing to scale. It really is, because if every viewer just gave 50 cents, you know, like on the Techlore front, like this last month, we got close to 300,000 views in the month across our whole channel. 50 cents per user is $150,000 a month. Like it's insane. It's the easiest thing to scale, but like it's also like the hardest thing for people to like be a part of, ironically. So I don't know. It's an annoying place to be, but I can't be mad at people, you know? Like I do support things when I can, but I don't support everything. And so it's just I'm just venting. I don't really expect anything from people who listen. We do this for free. We're not in this for the money. But it would help things a lot grow this podcast, which I think is important for the mission. So,
well, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't know how much of this you're going to keep in, but like, for me, it's the time thing, because like when I started the new oil, I didn't even want to do it full time. I was like, I like having a day job. And, you know, that was also back when I worked at a place where I didn't hate all my coworkers. But, you know, I was like, I liked having a day job. I liked the fact that I wasn't beholden to this. Cause like I've heard people say that about, you know, coming from an audio side, like studios. I've heard people who own studios say, don't make that your full-time income, because then you have to take any project that comes your way, even if you think they're like a garbage band. Even if you think they have no talent and you hate the music, you have to do it because you need the money. Whereas if you do it as a hobby, you can only take the bands that interest you, and it's not a big deal. Unless you're like Andrew Wade and you can just do whatever the hell you want. But, you know, and that's how I was with the new oil, is like I didn't want to do it full-time, because I was like, hey, there's no conflict of interest. I can turn down anybody I want. And, you know, it was really nice. But like the more it's grown, the more it's like, I will be surprised if I get my video out by the end of the month. Like it's almost done, but it's just, I have no free time. My Nextcloud has been down for a month while I try to migrate that. Like I traveled for work. I'm always working late. I have to do things around the house. I have to clean. I have to help cook. Like, you know, it's a matter of time, and people don't understand. Like Jonah, when he started making videos, I remember him messaging, I think it was the group chat, and he's just like, I did not realize how long it takes to make a video. It's like, yeah, dude, it's wild. Like my 5-minute TikTok videos, thankfully I have a volunteer who does it now, who I need to ask them if they want to be added to the site so people can donate to them maybe. But like I have a volunteer now who does my TikTok videos, but it's like when I used to do those, that was a whole afternoon just to do those 5-minute videos. And that's just videos. Yeah, that doesn't include like writing blogs. This weekend's gone. I didn't write a blog post because, again, been screwing with Nextcloud literally all weekend. Like, That doesn't include running updates on the website, remembering to research it's so time intensive.
Managing communities, on my end, having to manage people and not control what's happening in our workflows. It's a ton, dude. It's not an exaggeration. Like a normal Techlore video can, it's not uncommon for them to go over 50 hours of work per video, which is a lot. Like if you consider the fact that like recently we're uploading more than once a week, and some of those projects are like just do the math. It's a lot of fucking work back here for everyone involved. And I have the luxury of being able to do this full time, which Nate doesn't have. Like I can't imagine having a normal job and then like coming home and then having to like get the energy together to work on things. Especially because it's so creative sometimes. Like, I feel like regular work kills your creativity. At least it does for me.
I was going to say, honestly, that's the worst part is by the time I come home at the end of the day, it's like, dude, I just want to open a beer and like watch something on Netflix. Like, I don't want to use my brain at all.
All right. Well, I don't know what I'm going to keep there. But with all of that said, I do want to say I do appreciate all the people on our Patreon who are supporting us, who make a lot of these issues a lot better. You guys are the real difference. If you're not on Patreon or any of these other platforms, it really does help a lot. Again, it doesn't take much to take the 0.5% of people who actually are supporting people independently and make that 1%. It's just the scale is so small that it doesn't take much to double that. So
I don't want to come off as ungrateful because we really do. Like, I really do love doing this privacy stuff, and like I really do all appreciate all the people who do contribute. It really does mean the world, but. We've had people write in and be like, oh, I can only afford like $1 a month. Like, dude, that adds up. Like if everyone gave $1, that would be a game changer.
Right. And that you can do that on Patreon. Just because it's not a tier, you can actually do custom amounts. You won't qualify for like the perks, but if you really just want to give $1, you can.
So after all of your bitching and moaning about money, you somehow have enough to hire another employee. And on top of that, it's for someone to generate clips of your already available content. Henry's the perfect example of someone who'd rather throw money at a problem than actually solve it himself, despite this problem being a non-issue. You mean to tell me you can't spare an hour a week to generate your own clips? You're whining about people not giving you $1, but you can't even bother to give 1 hour for such a trivial task. Let's take a look at the job requirements. Basic thumbnail development and Affinity Suite preferred. That's funny because Affinity doesn't have a Linux version. Like, did you even try to find a Linux alternative, or was that too much work for baby Henry?
Someone asked like what we self-host, Nate and I on surveillance support, and I don't really self-host anything. I really don't like self-hosting things because I don't want to be responsible for my data, and that's the whole selling point of self-hosting something, which I fully understand. But like uptime for me is super important. Like I can't stand when something is down for even 10 minutes, and I hate troubleshooting things. I hate maintaining my own stuff. I like things to just work. I used to be more like in control of everything, and I feel like I've hit a good balance now with my life where I trust the services that I'm giving control to, and I trust them to handle my data, my privacy and security extremely well, but they can also guarantee uptime. They can guarantee that like everything is just going to work almost 24/7. So that is something I've migrated to. I feel overwhelmed with just like having things scattered on 2 accounts sometimes. So
did you even try Darktable? What about PhotoP? Seems like you're actively going out of your way to use as few false alternatives as possible. Passionate about the Techlore mission. Guess you're referring to making money by giving superficial privacy advice while doing as little work as possible. It's definitely not about providing real solutions and standardizing your so-called threat model concept. Sure, you'll tell people to use custom ROMs, but you won't give installation tutorials.
I don't dive into custom OSs at all. I do mention them. I say like, hey, these exist, but they're advanced. They fall way outside the scope of this website. Go check them out if you want more information. I'm not going to talk about them here.
Pretty much the question is, how do you install a custom ROM on an Android device safely? And so you don't mess it up or do anything silly. Very straightforward answer on my end. Follow the official installation instructions for whichever operating system you're trying to install. That's all I have to say there. If you want the most trusted solution and the less silly thing to do and the least likelihood that you're going to screw something up, just follow the official instructions for whatever ROM you're trying to install. That's it. I don't know if there's anything you have to add there.
Yeah, like I agree, because even the best tutorial on a long enough timeline will probably be wrong. Like even if somebody were to put out a tutorial today and it's totally up to date, it's perfect, it's step by step, in a year, something will have changed. Some library will be deprecated. They'll use a different one. Some installation method will change. Or even like with Lineage, for example, there's like 10 different ways of doing it that varies based on which phone you're installing it on.
That's why you update the tutorials every so often in order to maintain its accuracy. You mean to tell me you can't spit out updated tutorials 2 or 3 times a year? Oh wait, who am I kidding? This is the same group that can't even spend 5 minutes creating a 60-second YouTube short for a Patreon question.
And then Caption 8169 asked about security for like banks and brokerage accounts, and we will probably get back to that in just one short. So we'll probably have 3 shorts this upcoming week before we come back next week for the next Surveillance Report 131.
So where exactly did you get the extra money to hire someone? Seems like you've been lying about how rough your finances are,